Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Fridays with Keenan's Cutting Edge. My name is Jenna Labor, and I will be your host as we explore the dynamic world of Don Keenan's trial philosophy, the cutting edge. Those of you joining us live, I almost said joining us live. Nobody is joining us live today because we are pre-recorded. So today we have a pre-recorded episode because we couldn't quite get the email blast for marketing out early enough for Ada Wong to join us. So we are coming to you pre-recorded. You cannot ask questions of our speaker right now live and get live answers, but we will put her contact information in the description below, as we always do with our speakers, so that you can reach out to her at any point in time with questions about the episode or anything she's going to talk about today. I'm excited to have Ada Wong with us to talk about, well, to introduce herself, because she is the new dean of KTI, KLF. I'm going to let her even explain that part because I don't even know. She's going to talk to us about how 2024 has been going and give us a sneak peek into what 2025 has in store. I know that there's a lot of really fun and exciting things that she has planned. Ada is a dear friend of mine and a wonderful lawyer out here in Washington State. So I'm thrilled that she has joined and thoroughly embraced the Keenan Law Firm and Keenan Trial Institute family. And I've been chasing her for 3 years to be on the podcast. So I am excited for her to finally be here to speak to all of you. Without further ado, Ada, welcome. Tell us who you are and a little bit about your journey to how you got to where you are right now. Not in your office, but we're talking about Edge.
Well, thank you, Jenna, and thank you all for having me. Sorry this couldn't be live. We were hoping it would be. We looked at some dates, and of course, between Jenna and myself, we couldn't find a Friday until probably like late January that worked. So here we are. My name is Ada Wong, as Jenna said. I'm out here in Seattle, Washington. I am your new dean of the Keenan Trial Institute as of last week, end of October. So yeah, super excited and thrilled. I am out here. I mainly practice employment law. I love sharing how I got started with KTI because it sort of all comes back together. It actually started with Jenna and her partner, Youngji. They are very good, dear friends of mine, also out here in Seattle, Washington. If anyone wants to come visit us, you should. It's not lovely this time of year, but, you know, we're here. And they were telling me how they got started with KTI, and I was intrigued. I'm in my 13th year of practice now, and I started KTI, I think the end of 2019. So at that time, I was like, oh, you know, I've read a lot of trial books, watched a lot of trials, had some trials under my belt, and I was constantly trying to find something that was really going to elevate my practice. And Jenna and Youngji were talking to me about how they were in KTI, they were RAs for a trucking case, and just how different it was from a lot of the CLEs and the conferences and the books that were being offered. So I was like, well, I don't really know. I went on the website, I checked it out. I was like, this is interesting. Those of you who aren't familiar with KTI, you know, we have undergrad courses and also graduate courses, which isn't like something that I've seen before as a lawyer. So I started poking around, and I had to start with the pre-recorded Intro to Edge seminar. So this was probably around the holidays, tail end of 2019. I said, hey, look, you know, why not just watch this over the holidays? So I think I spent like 6-7 hours watching it. I took the test, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. I went back and I talked to Youngji and Jenna about, you know, my experience watching it, and it was like nothing I've ever read or seen or heard of before. So I was really intrigued. So then I started taking the courses, and the first course, as many of you know, is rules. So I took that, and it was just mind-blowing. Everything up until that point was new to me, was news to me, and I could see how it would apply for my employment cases. Even though most of the folks in KTI, and frankly on the plaintiff's bar, is personal injury, but I was able to extract a lot of the teachings for my employment practice. And if you all remember, unfortunately, during the 2020 year, it was COVID. So KTI stopped doing in-person courses. I've actually never had to go to an in-person KTI course up until fairly recently when we went through training with Mr. Keenan. But because it was during COVID and courses were virtual, I was able to breeze through mostly, I think, all of the undergrad courses, if not most of it, in 2020. Then I had my second FedEx trial, which some of you know about. At the end of 2020, we got a really good $6.8 million verdict. And I credit so much of that to KTI and the teachings and everything from what I learned from KTI, applying it to my FedEx employment trial. It was a disability and retaliation case. And so I was super hooked. And then I just breezed through the remainder of the courses, and I've really enjoyed it since. I think it was in 2021, I took voir dire with Toby Cole. He was an amazing instructor, and that was the last of my undergrad courses. And he said, Ada, have you ever thought about becoming faculty for KTI? And I said, no. I don't think there were so many well-qualified faculty that I took courses from. I mean, at the time, and I still do, I teach employment discrimination at our law school here. And I enjoy teaching. I've spoken at a lot of conferences and CLEs, but I just didn't feel qualified to teach at the time. So I told him, thank you, but, probably not now. Then a couple months later, I get a call just out of the blue from Tony Seaton, who was our administrator associate dean at that point in time. And he told me that Toby and David Hart, who was undergrad co-dean of voir dire at the time, had separately recommended me as faculty. And I was like, okay, well, if you're going to call me and ask me and tell me this, then maybe I should really think about it. And I think I don't know if you remember, Jenna, I talked to you about it and, if I should do it.
Yeah, because I've been teaching for a little while at that point, and it's, I remember when they asked me, I felt the same way. I was like, what? I don't know enough about, there's no way, but they have just an incredible way of getting you ready. And so I was so thrilled for you. That was awesome.
Yes. Yeah. And I was like, okay, you really encouraged me to do it. So I figured, what's the worst thing? Like, I'll try. Right. And Jenna, now you teach, what is it? Three courses?
No, I teach trial and direct exam. Yeah, 2. So I teach 2. And then I think, I think I might be learning advanced witness prep or something like that. Now that I have taught a couple, I'm like, okay, I can learn it and teach it. It's not, because we learn it and we implement it, right? And then, but to be able to teach it, I don't know, I feel like it's such a big responsibility, like what if you teach it wrong and somebody misunderstands something and then they go try it and you've just really just besmirched Papa Don's name because they're like, this is the dumbest thing ever. It's just like it feels like such a big responsibility. But once you kind of get into it and learn it and do it and realize, nope, we can learn how to teach it. It's pretty fun. So.
Yeah. Well, as of a couple of days ago, Jenna, when we were talking, you do have a third course now because, yes, like you were saying, advanced witness prep.
Okay. All right. Tell me what the dates are.
Yes. Yeah. So, I was talking to Jenna about it. She really encouraged me to become faculty. So I was asked, which 2 courses or 1 or 2 courses I would like to teach. And I said, I loved voir dire and I loved mediation. Mediation was a game changer for me in my practice. I really enjoyed it. So then I started teaching. And I think any doubts about whether or not I was good faculty was sort of put at rest at the end of 2022 when they presented me with the Faculty of the Year award. So I was like, okay, I'm not doing that bad. It's also the same year, Jenna, because we were at the graduation together virtually. You got the podcast.
Yeah. It's also nice to see the students' feedback. Well, I always get nervous when they feel, I see that email from William and it's got all their feedback forms. I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope I did a good job. It's nice to get that, if they liked it and learned a lot and enjoyed the style of your teaching and whatnot. And so that's a big credit to you, Ada, that you got a lot of good accolades from your first year of teaching.
Yeah, so I was, really enjoyed it. I enjoy giving back. I love teaching. I think if I didn't end up being a lawyer and money really wasn't a consideration, I'd probably be a teacher.
Well, what's good about that and the whole EDGE thing is that we're trying to be teachers, not preachers to the jury. So that's a good passion for you to have to implement this system. So cool.
Yeah. So then, I was just teaching, took some courses here and there for graduate level. And then this summer, late summer, I want to say sometime this summer, late summer. I can't believe we are already in November and it's going to be 2025. So earlier, I think it was like sometime this summer, William Entrican, on behalf of Mr. Keenan, and David Hoey had reached out to me saying, hey, would you be interested in talking about an associate dean position? Of course, I'm sitting here like, say what? So I talked to a number of folks about it. I think I also talked to Jenna and Youngji, got their thoughts on it. It's so nice to have a good support group of friends, and I thank you both for being there for me through all this time.
Well, we thank you for actually taking our words to heart, because I don't know, most of the EDGE community, a lot of the EDGE community, I should say, is in the Southeast. And now we're all over, but up here in the Northwest, for the audience, we are very much TLC country, very much, Jerry Spence. That was the first thing I ever learned about trial, was all of those teachings, which are, and Don will tell you this too, fabulous teachings, but it doesn't take you from point A through point Z in how to conduct a trial, even through discovery, all the way back to the case selection criteria. So Youngji and I would talk up this system, and we were just tiny little baby lawyers, so nobody cared what we had to say anyways, but we were talking it up to our friends, and people would be like, oh, I'm kind of interested, but nobody wants to put in the work. Well, Ada, actually did what and Nicole, I'm giving Nicole Gainey a shout out because she also has taken it to heart, but most other people just kind of oh, that sounds like a lot of work, and then put it to the side. So thank you, Ada, for actually doing it and then proving further that the system really works and that we can do it up here in the Pacific Northwest. And we're not out there to make juries feel like they are so afraid that they can't go out of their homes, without giving us a big verdict or whatever it is that people think up here that the EDGE is all about. So that's it. I had to say that because so many people are just I don't want to do all that work. It's too much for me.
That's true. It is a lot of work, but it is so worth it. For ourselves as lawyers and as advocates for our clients, it's really been changing, really life-changing for me in my career. So yeah, and then, we've also seen an uptick of Washington state attorneys as well as California. So shout out to all you Californians for coming on board the KTI train. So I've heard a lot of good feedback from a lot of the newer KTI students as well. Yeah. So then, next thing you know, I accepted the associate dean position, and David Hoey was dean. As many of you know, a couple weeks ago, he stepped down for personal reasons, and we're really excited for him into his personal life and having more time to spend with his family and loved ones. I know that, we all strive as lawyers for good work-life balance, and I'm glad that he's able to take that step now. And so as of last week, Mr. Keenan made me dean, which to me, frankly, was a surprise. I thought he'd just tell us once he finds a new dean, and, we all in management would know. So here we are.
Wow. Well, what an incredible story, because within the span of 5 years, I guess it is, and we went from just talking about this program to you kind of going through the whole thing and now being top lady dog. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You have a very full life. You've got kids, you've got your own practice, you've got faculty stuff with KTI, and now the deanship. What does an average day look like for you as the dean? What things do you do? How do you fit it into everything else you have going on?
Yeah, well, I'm still trying to manage and juggle everything. I felt like going from associate dean to dean, there was a lot. I don't want to say surprisingly, but it's a lot more. And I think because I'm still new to the role, it's taking me a little bit more time to catch up and figure out what works best and is most efficient. We actually just got done with our leadership meeting this morning. We try to have a weekly leadership meeting for all of KTI management. really excited, as Jenna was saying, that, I'll be sharing some of the wrap up of 2024 and a sneak peek into 2025 and a little bit on this podcast. So, sort of in a typical day, and yes, I do have two kids, 3 and 5, both girls, really cute. And
they're cute.
People are always like, how do you do all that? And I say, thank goodness for daycare. Because if they were at home with me, it's like I would never get work done. My husband has been super supportive of me and like my career and even going out on my own. I think I was in my 3rd year of practice when I decided to go out on my own.
Oh my God, Young G and I are responsible for that too. You remember?
Yes, you guys were. Yes, I was talking to so many people when I was, thinking about going out on my own, and I was talking to, yes, you and Youngji a lot, and you both helped me so much on just like, like the logistics, what to think about, programs, clients, a lot of the logistical like work that we have to do to even like build it from the ground up. I mean, I was lucky enough at the time that I think when I had transitioned out of my last firm, I took, was it 25 or so cases with me, and it was mutual. It was very amicable. And so I guess I was lucky on that front. I didn't have to start from like nothing. But I do want to give a shout out to my husband, who's been very supportive for all these years. And yeah, so I already forgot what you were asking. Oh, sorry, day to day. See?
Yeah, sorry, that was my fault jumping in. But yeah, your daily, the daily.
Yeah, so, I get the kids up and my husband usually drops them off at school. I sit on my computer, check my emails, probably what most of you all do, figure out what is really on the board for today. Like I said, we have the weekly KTI management meetings, and it's a lot of my work as dean, I think, is just currently, because we are ending the 2024 year, going into 2025, is to create the slate of instructors, confirming who's going to continue being on KTI faculty, which most people do unless they're retiring. And congrats to those who are. We do have a handful who are retiring this year. And also putting together the slate of new instructors for 2025. So we're going to have a really good solid slate. They're all going to take their training and shadow the courses before actually getting into teaching. So we're really excited about that. So as of right now, it's a lot of that. We are also have our first Seattle, Washington course coming up, as David Crump was talking about in the last podcast, where he's going to be co-teaching it with Peter Levine, closing damages. We are actually, so we filled up so quickly that we opened it up. So usually we fill up at 8 to 10 because we want to make sure we max capacity it, so everybody has a chance to get up and role play. We decided to have 2 instructors and then to cap it at 14. So as of this morning, I think we have 1 spot available.
Uh-oh.
By the time that this goes live next Friday, so today is November 1st, if everyone's like, what is she talking about? When is she saying this? This is when we're recording this. So hopefully we might still have 1 spot by the time the 8th rolls around of November, but we are really excited because now we're going to be back here in Seattle, Washington. I am hoping that we are also going to be able to go on tour for our courses. So we haven't had any courses outside of Florida in Georgia post-COVID. But one of my goals for 2025 is to identify some cities and some courses where we can go live, over here on the West Coast and then also Central. So that'd be exciting. If anybody is interested in having us tour your city, please leave a comment. They can leave comments, right?
Yes, they can leave comments, they can email, they can, absolutely, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. So we're working on the schedule. William Entrican is working really hard on the schedule. We're thinking Q1 is going to come out within the next week or 2, and then Q2 by the end of the year, and then probably Q3 and 4 will come out probably in early 2025.
That's exciting. I remember when I first started, that's kind of how it was courses would be in different places all over the country. So when I took I took voir dire and openings, my first 2 classes, and those were in Las Vegas. And then I did I think it was an employment seminar maybe in Dallas. And then stuff was in Georgia back in the day. They were doing it at John's law firm in Atlanta. And then Florida kind of became the hub. And I'm trying to think if there were other states I went to for Edge stuff back then. I'm not sure. But yeah, so we're bringing it back. We're bringing back the in-person tours. And I hope that folks in the Northeast, if you have a group of people that are going to show up, or, even like what's it called? The tri-state area, New Jersey, New York, whatever. Anyways, you people out there, your tiny little states where it's easy to go from state to state, like Connecticut, I don't know, Rhode Island. We could have one easily up there and have a bunch of people come to that. So give us some ideas, where you want us to come, and Ada and William will work it out for y'all.
Yeah, we're super excited.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Tell us a little bit about, tell us about this year with KTI. There have been some big changes. There have been some new faces. Tell us what has been your favorite part, and what's worked and maybe what hasn't.
Yeah, so 2024 was really exciting because it was the first year post-COVID that we started going back to live in-person courses. Had some really great feedback. I think people miss each other. The camaraderie is there when you're there live together for multi-days. So we're going to try to continue, definitely going to do that again in 2025. But for those of you who enjoy virtual, because, life has other obligations besides just working, who prefer the virtual, we are still going to have a very good amount of virtual course offerings next year. I was just talking to Lynette about how many students we have as of right now, and she tells me we're at about 6,000 students. Many of them are graduates and masters. Last week, so still in October, we had our paralegal seminar, which we haven't had since I think 2019, so about 5 years. We had our paralegal seminar. Lynn led that and hosted it. It was a huge success. We had about 50 paralegals show up from all across the United States. It was 2 days, and we had some fantastic speakers. We've been reviewing the feedback, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback, so much so that I think we're going to try to do this annually, and hopefully maybe one of these days in person. I know it's hard for everybody, especially paralegals, taking the time off, but there is bonding and camaraderie there that you can't get from just, sitting virtually.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, I think we sent Mike to, must have been the last one, I believe. So it's good because then they kind of understand I don't know, we use our paralegal a little bit differently than a lot of people use their paralegals. Mike doesn't do, as I think a lot of paralegals do, some of the pleadings and some of the discovery and that sort of thing. And although I think Young G uses him a little differently than I do even. I like to do my own discovery because I'm a control freak, so I write it out myself. but it helps them understand kind of the goal we're going for, the theme that our cases take, the shape that the discovery and the evidence and stuff. And if you have your paralegals review evidence, it helps them look at, pull out what will work for an edge case, right? So what a cool, that is a really interesting thing. Does any other trial philosophy, as far as you're aware, Ada, provide support staff or paralegals?
I'm sure there are. I'm not aware of any on the top of my head. I think I've seen one come through over the years. It was a couple hours where they have some paralegal topics, probably, the usual, how to help at trial and build a trial binder and gather exhibits and whatnot. But this one's different, right? It teaches you, your paralegals, how to think the KTI way and how to support us as lawyers in working on our cases the KTI way. So we've had some paralegals that have, been with that particular firm for a while, so then they were able to come back. The last time, obviously, we had it in 2019 was live. So yeah, really good feedback. And we hope to continue to do it, maybe even on an annual basis instead of once every couple of years.
Yeah. I'm thinking, would you recommend lawyers go to it as well, with their support staff, so that they know what they're learning and can kind of work with them to implement? Because I was just thinking, I don't even know what Mike learned necessarily. And I feel like that's a disconnect that should probably be fixed in the firm.
Yeah, well, we have an agenda and it's 2 days. Some of the topics include helping out with focus group logistics, seeing is believing, Mr. Keenan came on, talked about embedding anger, creating rules, basic fundamentals of stools, how to help in depositions at trial. I'm sure there were more covered in the 2 days. I spoke on the topic of investigation, how to, conduct investigations the KTI way, what to look for, what to think about, what to go after. And then Tara Peterson, one of my paralegals, who attended the seminar, also spoke a little bit about AI, investigating with AI. We also had a speaker from LexisNexis talk about using LexisNexis AI to help you in your cases. My other paralegal, Kayla Stewart, who's been with me for about 8 years now,
Wow.
she actually wasn't able to make it because she was on a much needed vacation. Disneyland with her kids, she does once a year. And before we had the dates on the books, she had booked it, so she couldn't attend the seminar. But she's so good about those things because she'll look on my calendar and then figure out her vacation schedule based on that. So I appreciate it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so she wasn't able to make it, but 2024, so this year's paralegal seminar was recorded and will be up on the KTI products page to download probably, I'm assuming sometime in early 2025 for those who missed it and want to watch it. But yes, highly encourage it. For attorneys to send their paralegals, and even if they're not paralegals, like support staff, reception. Well, I don't know about the receptionist. Depends what you have the receptionist do.
Maybe they could do case intake selection criteria. I don't know. Maybe have a little bit of it. If you have someone who isn't like a call Ruby or something like that, but someone who actually helps screen calls, then that might be.
Yeah, or even like your legal assistants, I don't think it's harmful for an attorney to go attend or to watch the recording from last month. I don't know if it's absolutely necessary, but if you want to do it, why not?
Yeah, I don't know. I was just curious to know like what they know, so then I can maximize how to utilize it. Like, I don't, does my paralegal know how to support me at trial? Oh, they do. Okay, cool. Let's use them more, that kind of a thing.
Yeah. And then, if anybody watching or you, Jenna, as lawyers, if you have topics that you think you want us to go through with your paralegal for the next seminar, please feel free to email Haley. Sorry, Haley, for volunteering you, but email Haley and I'm sure we'll drop her contact info somewhere here.
Yeah, we'll have Tim add both yours and Haley's to the description below the video on YouTube, and you guys can reach out and give us ideas on what you want to hear, what support you need, right, from your support staff. Because Papa Don has been on this kick for a few years now, like bring Bubba what Bubba wants and do it how they want it. We want to do stuff how you want it, right? Same thing. You guys are the target audience. We want to support you and help your firms grow and your cases resolve well for your clients. So let us know what you need.
Yeah, we're huge on feedback. One of the things, if you don't mind me talking a little bit about Jen, I want to segue into it is, thank you, it's based on feedback. Mm-hmm. So one of the new things in 2024 that's happening is Seeing is Believing course. So this course was first taught once, I think, back 5 years ago, just pre-pandemic live. And we had reviewed the feedback. Mr. Keenan had reviewed the feedback along with William and Mr. and Hoey. And, based on that, they've been revamping the course for years now. And finally, it is done and it is revamped. And we had our in-person faculty training in Florida with Mr. Keenan recently. And we are offering the live course, I believe it's early December, for Seeing is Believing. So I think we probably still have a couple spots open for those who are interested in signing up. But based on the feedback, that whole course was revamped. And I was at the training and it's going to be great. I would highly suggest this for all attorneys. I think there's only one requirement, prereq for the course. So look on the website if you're interested. And so Seeing is Believing is a new course, new-ish in that it's revamped, that we're rolling back out, and you're going to see it on the 2025 calendar.
Yeah. And that's just a perfect example of the fact that your feedback really matters and makes a difference, right? Because I think I went to one of the times it was taught and I had a lot of feedback about it and I was very frustrated. And I thought, oh my gosh, they're just going to ignore me and it's just going to, continue on. And that just absolutely was not the case. Obviously, I mean, they pulled it, they fixed it, and I'm going to totally take it again. I can't do it in December, but I am definitely going to take it again. So I can't wait.
Yeah, Mr. Keenan reads every single evaluation that comes through for all the courses and the seminars. I've been reading them as well and will continue to read them. So if you ever hear from me, it's not because I'm bugging you for something you said in the evaluation that might be negative. It's probably constructive feedback, and we want to learn a little bit more so we can always, do better and give our students what they want. One of the other things that is getting revamped going into 2025 is the mediation course. So
that was my favorite. Also, when you're talking about that, I was like, amen, sister. That one was so good. So undergrad mediation.
So we have undergrad mediation and we have advanced mediation, right?
And I wanted to take that. I think that's the one that got canceled after I signed up for it. I don't know what that was about, but I got to re-sign up at some point because I definitely want to do that one too.
Yes. Well, the nice thing is both of those are now getting combined into one 3-day course. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So you're going to get both undergrad and advanced mediation all at the same time, 3 days. Our amazing co-dean for that course, Amanda Stearns, who was co-dean for the advanced mediation course, is going to continue. And she's revamping the materials over the holiday season. So we'll have it going into the new year, and then we're doing retraining. And the idea is that we're going to have that course first offered virtually February 3rd through the 5th. So pencil it in, our 2025 calendar will be coming out soon, but that's what we're hoping for that course. So we're really excited because we had a lot of feedback about it. We decided to combine it.
Okay. All right. So there you go. Listening to feedback. And I think folks, when you give feedback and if you are like unhappy about something, like, don't be afraid to share it because of the examples that we're giving here where, you don't have to like be too nice, but you can say the real truth. I mean, just don't like be extra mean because, just know we are trying our best here. Okay. So, but yeah, feel free to give that feedback and don't be shy because, is it Papa Don who always says this? It is. It's definitely Papa Don. He says, if you have the question, then chances are other people have it. So don't be afraid to ask. Same thing. If you're annoyed by something or frustrated or there's a disconnect or something like that, chances are you're not the only one. So let us know.
Yeah. You might not see the change in like a day or two, but
yeah,
you are working on it.
Yeah. Yes. All right. Let's see. Oh, so with the scheduling of the courses in 2025 and doing in-person and virtual, is there a concerted effort to make it that each course has an in-person and a virtual so that, we're not just stuck with, if we want to do mediation, they're all going to be only in person and that kind of thing?
Yeah, great question. Yes, so that is the idea, where for each course, we are going to offer both an in-person and a virtual option for everybody. There may be a course or two where it's only going to be offered live. So seeing is believing is still to be determined. The December course is going to be live, and then depending on how that goes and the feedback, we'll see if we're going to only have it live or also offer a virtual course.
Okay.
And speaking of new courses and new things happening, the last new thing I wanted to say on courses is closing damages. So that's the one that I was just talking about that's pretty full. And that one is a whole new course with faculty all trained personally by Mr. Keenan. And this one was offered once earlier this year. And then we have the live one in Seattle, Washington in December. And then next year, we're going to see if, we're going to keep this live or also offer virtual. But this is the newest course on the books and it's been super popular. So I think we're gonna try to offer it a little bit more often.
Yeah, I know we've been waiting for this for a long time, and we had the closing liability portion that was released. I think that must have been pre-COVID?
Probably.
I think so. And then and it was always like, it's coming. And we're like, I started to give up hope. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe they just don't have time to make it happen. And so I was so excited when it was announced this year that it's finally out. I mean, closing is very special and dear to Papa Don's heart. And so I know that's something that he was taking a lot of time to perfect. And, he got through that liability portion and then just, spent a lot of time making sure the damages part was going to be really, really good. I remember at one of my trials a couple of years ago, I was like, I only have half a closing argument here, Papa Don. What do I do next? So I'm very excited for that. One of the biggest challenges I feel personally with my closing arguments is the ask. I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to quantify the emotional distress. And maybe like some in our audience, I've tried everything. I've tried leaving it completely up to the jury, and then they complain later, you didn't give us any signposts or anything. And I've tried telling them what to do, and then they're like, we didn't like what you told us. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm just, I think it'll be fantastic. Have you gotten any sneak peek into it yet? I know you're going to be at the one in December here, obviously. But any ideas on people like it? Is it fun, exciting?
Yeah, I do have a sneak peek into it, but I can't say anything. But I will say, I do think that it is a very good course, and I highly recommend it to everybody to take it. I mean, as you're saying, Jenna, closings and the ask and damages itself, it's hard, and now that we have a course on it, should make life a whole lot easier.
Yep, it's really the final piece of the puzzle, nail in the coffin, however you want to look at it, positively or like negatively. Nail in the coffin for the defense, piece of the puzzle to us, for kind of the cap on all of this. And, I was just thinking, speaking of feedback and courses and, updating things, the direct exam course is getting a little update. I don't know. And so the dean, Thomas Morrissey, had Mike Ryder and I we taught this week, the same week that we are in right now. It was November 1st. We taught it earlier this week. And he was asking us how we might want to move around the way the course is right now, because they have some new material. And it is exciting because the way direct exam is right now, as those of you who have taken it already know, it's really geared at the direct exam of your client. And so you come away with an incredible system for getting your client on the stand and just really doing a good job of getting their story told. But they're going to be adding in some systems to do direct exams of other witnesses. So very excited about that. I'm not sure if we're going to do a new training on it or if it's just going to be dropped in, but that's new as well. And I don't know even have they talked to you about that at all, Ada? That was just kind of a new thing that came across my desk.
Yeah, so lots of new things happening in 2025. Can't cover it all during the podcast today, but a lot of our courses are also getting, facelift is the right word, some updates. It's not like a full revamp, but many of them are getting updates. We're working with all the various co-deans of each course to see like what needs to be updated. In terms of, all hands on deck faculty training, we're going to have that for 3 or 4 of them so far that we've identified. So probably, direct exam has not yet been identified as one. So unlikely we're going to pull everybody in for like a full day of training. But, if that's necessary, that's something we would do.
Yeah.
So this year, lots of new things. So exciting. One of the other things is the Beast College. Most of you all have not attended because we had 2 of these this year. The first was a beta version, and then the second one just concluded also last week. We graduated, I think 7 graduates from the Beast College. It is a 2-week course, and where we condensed and intensified a lot of the undergraduate courses. So like rules, opening, focus groups, direct, hit lists, seeing is believing. A number of those courses were all condensed for these students within 2 weeks, Monday through Friday. And then we had a nice graduation celebration to recognize all of them last Friday as well. So we are, it was a huge success. The beta version was obviously a huge success from earlier this year. So we ran this official version a couple weeks ago. And we are going to do another one in April. So look out for dates. It's going to be in April of next year. It is going to be capped at, I think, 8, definitely no more than 10, but likely 8 students. And so once you graduate from the Beast College, you are now a graduate status. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do that. And then we're also going to have phase 2 of the Beast College, which will have all different courses within those 2 weeks. And we're looking at September of 2025. And I know that Jenna might have some of our recent Beast College graduates on her podcast. Is that right?
Yes, we are setting that up. In fact, I think in November, no, it's definitely this month. Yeah, it might be November 22nd, if I'm remembering correctly. So I'm excited to hear more about that. I mean, I think the biggest question from everyone is like, how did you get 2 weeks to come and do that? Because that would be the only thing that would prevent me from frigging jumping right on a plane and getting down there and doing that course, because that is so cool. It's just incredible to just get it all done. Boom, 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 2 weeks. And I mean, you bring one case to that and your case is ready when it's done.
Yeah. And it's all live, faculty are flying in live to teach on their courses. And no, it's amazing. But yes, you're right. 2 weeks for anybody, whether it's a course or even like vacation or personal time off, is like super hard, right? So I think that, I was talking to some of them and they have their own firms or they had to run it through their partners and like really get their buy-in on that. So I highly encourage, if you are watching this and you have associates, please think about giving them the time off to go to the Beast College in 2 weeks. And, if you really think about it, 2 weeks is a long time, but if you're going to send them through all the various courses that are 2 to 3 days each, I mean, you're looking at a lot of time savings, not just money savings, but time savings. So I highly recommend it. And now your associates are up to speed, or if you have your own law firm, think about that. I would definitely say, don't think that you can take your work with you while you're going through the college. It is pretty intense. You're not going to have a lot of time at night, nor do I think you want to spend the mental capacity to really do work as you're going through the 2 weeks. So something to think about.
Yeah, that's, yeah, and you're right, because taking 2 or 3 day courses, as many as, you need to take throughout for this program, it's a lot of time, especially for those of us on the left coast over here, the travel and everything like that. So to get it done in one go is, it's special. So that's really cool that they've developed. I don't even think I knew they were developing that. It just all of a sudden showed up and I was like, whoa.
Yeah. We were testing the beta version earlier this year and it was like successful. So here we are. That's
awesome. Okay. I remember my question and I do want to ask it because I don't want to get a bunch of angry people who are like, oh my gosh, you guys are revamping these things. And now I got to go take a class that I took and all of that. So is there a discount or I don't know, how does that work for folks who've already taken it and maybe want to do it again?
Sure. So if you've taken it and you want to do it again, whether or not it's been revamped, I mean, I know people who take courses because, now a year later or even 9 months later, they're like, I have this other course or case that I want to bring in through this course. And people always get more from the same course, even if it's the same instructor, they always get more a second time go around. So I highly encourage if you want to do it. And to answer your question, yes, there is a discount. I believe the discount is 50%. And you will have to email Clinette about it when you register. So yes, I would highly encourage if you've taken it to retake it, whether or not it's been revamped.
All right, very cool. Well, that's good because I know a lot of the questions that I get from potential students or, especially people over here, and I know we've gotten a great contingency from California and we're getting more people from Washington. They're like, how do I do this? Is it worth going in person? Is it, it's just a lot. It's a lot to think about. So if you, just took a course and you're like, there's something new about it or you want to do it again, we respect and honor the fact that it's difficult to do the same thing twice. So, and spending the time. So we give a little bit of a discount. Actually, that's a pretty incredible discount to make it worth your while.
Yeah. I find that, as Jenna, you looped me into KTI along with Young G, pretty quickly because I was sold once I started, right? I think the hardest part for people, because I'm talking to a lot of my friends and colleagues, whether it's Washington or different states, and just telling them about KTI, And, I always think the hardest part for folks is just starting it. I think once they start it, they see it, they get it. They're like, wow, this is amazing. This is going to change how I work as a lawyer and how I work up my cases. I think that the hardest part is just like getting them there to take that first step, because we see a lot of our students, once they sign up and go to rules, which is again the first prereq course for any other course, they're going through. They might not go through, everything within a year or two, because, we all have other things in life that we have to deal with. But they make it through. We rarely see people start it and then decide to stop because of a KTI related reason. They can stop for personal reasons, whatever that may be, but it's just, really starting it. So I highly encourage those. Just try it out and you'll like it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it helps that the first intro, like the intro to the intro, is Don doing his, 7-hour recording. Welcome to the Edge, right? Welcome to the Keenan Edge, I think is what it's called. Because you can do that from the comfort of your home. So even if you're like, going to a college or whatever, the first dipping your toe in is just watching a video, like you could binge watch Selling Sunset, which I highly recommend, but I also recommend binge watching Papa Don intro this incredible system and just seeing how it works. I think a lot of people hear a lot of different things because this program in various iterations has been around for a long time at this point. And people hear different things about it, but to give them the gift of like really seeing it in practice. And I know that when I did my first trial implementing this, I never looked back, and I'd only taken those 2 courses. I had had a few phone calls with Don, who kind of helped me set the case up. I think it was the second trial I'd ever done in my life. I was doing all by myself, and it was, the system worked. And I was like, okay, seeing is believing. I literally saw it work for me, and boom, that was it. So I agree with you 100%. It's just getting it there and getting over that fear or that prejudice people might have about what they've heard about the system and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's a great program. It's a great system. What else? What's the end of the year wrap up?
So we have, on our website, all of the remaining courses. A couple of them got pulled because we're at capacity, so we're not taking registrants, like damages. That's got pulled off the website. So yes, we have a lot of good courses, a lot of good faculty. Greg Luther is going to be teaching damages. He's also going to be teaching black letter law. Mindy Bish, you all know her, and David Crump are also going to be teaching admitted liability. We talked about the closing liability, closing damages. There's a number of good courses up there. So if you want to do your year end, get your courses in. Now is the time to do it. We just finished our October spooky discount of 31% because now it's November. But, if money is always an issue, or if money is an issue, we always have scholarships that you can apply for online. You could personally email me as well if that's, what's stopping you from taking that next course. I was trying to think what else we have in 2024. I think we covered most of it for today. I'm really excited to go into 2025. I gave you a sneak peek into some of the other things. Give you another one, which is the last week of January, we're going to do an in-person course in Atlanta with Tony Seaton, who's going to be fantastic. And he is going to do a combined closing liability and closing damages course.
Cool.
The 5 days. So that one it's going to be offered that one time combined. We may offer it another time next year combined, depending on the feedback, obviously, that we get from the students for that one. But both of those courses will still be offered separately, as it always has been.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's exciting. That's another one where you can just get it done all in one fell swoop. And is it going to be at Dawn's office in Atlanta?
Yes, I think that's where it's going to be.
Okay. Well, that's exciting. What about seminars? What are we looking at for seminars next year?
Yeah, so February kicks off our seminar season. Greg Luther and his medical malpractice seminar is going to happen in February. Jenna, did you get the dates for it yet? I know we have it. Okay.
No, yeah, no. I was just thinking that's kind of coming up, and I think I'm supposed to go to that. So
Yeah, I figured. Yeah, so that's probably going to be listed on the schedule. Everything's going to be listed on the schedule on the website. William's going to be sending this out in the next week or two, but it's going to be in February. I can't remember the city. I just remember the hotel is a Hyatt. I don't know why I remember the hotel and not the city. But
so is it not going to be in Florida?
I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to pull it up. I'll tell you offline once we're done with this. And then my all-time favorite, but that's because I'm biased, because I'm co-hosting this, is the employment seminar.
Hey.
So it's going to be in Dallas, Texas, April 24th to the 26th. So it's going to be Thursday, Friday. We always have a full agenda of amazing speakers. And Saturday is going to be the workshop that we like to do and also have been, I was debating, do we want to do another, 2.5, 3 days, especially if people are going to have to fly in person, cut into the weekend. But we've had such good feedback on the workshop, and a lot of people find it so useful for their own cases that they get to bring in, that we're going to keep it this year. So I hope to see most of you employment attorneys there. It's going to be our first one live in person post-COVID.
Yeah, it's always...
Yeah, and I'll be co-hosting that with Jason Ehrlich and David Wong out of California.
All right. So does the Med-Mal have a third day for a workshop as well? Do all the seminars?
Yeah, so your Med-Mal is actually going to be coupled. I believe what's going to happen is you're going to have the reception the night before day one. You're going to have your seminar, and then you're going to have your RA meeting, RA workshop right after.
Oh, okay. Do you know if it has a workshop day for just regular attendees?
That I don't know. Greg does have the full schedule. I think it's going to be mid or late February. I just don't have it handy.
Okay. All right, cool. So we've got Med-Mal, we've got employment. What other seminars are there?
So those are the two that's going to kick us off for the beginning of 2025. We also, have tractor trailer, premise, mold is a new one. I don't know if we're going to do a seminar on that one.
Okay.
But Mindy Bish is leading the mold RA group, the referring attorneys group for that.
Oh, that's cool, because Yunji started taking some mold cases. So that might be something she wants to get involved in, because that's an interesting area of law.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people talk about, mold cases and, wanting to be part of an RA program for mold. So, Mindy and Mr. Keenan, listen to them, and now we have a mold RA group, just similar to the employment RA group, which is fairly new. I think it's only been in existence for about a year and a half now.
Yeah, because I didn't know about that, and then you mentioned it, and I didn't want to pretend like I didn't want to say that I didn't know it, but now I'm announcing it to a lot of people that I didn't know it, but I didn't. I was like, oh, we have one of those. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people still don't know about it. We don't mass announce these RAs because it's selective on who gets to come in to be an RA. But yeah, so employment is new, mold is the newest.
Yeah, mold is really interesting because it involves a lot of, as we've been finding out in the firm since Yunji's been taking them, it just involves a lot of odd kind of contingent areas of law, like contracts and landlord tenant and, like HOA and all kinds of stuff. So it's excellent to have that support from you said Mindy's doing mold?
Mindy is.
Does Mindy do all of the RA groups except for Med-Mal?
Correct.
Wow. Mindy. Go Mindy. Wow.
I know. I'm like, where do you have the time? Because she's also, teaching hit lists and she's teaching a number of things. She was down in Florida for the Beast College. She's, like I said, going to teach the admitted liability this year. It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, she's a true believer and she's an incredible asset to this organization. So hopefully, she's like, well, we always say this about Mike. I'm like, whatever he needs to stay, we will give it to him. And then he's like the same way because she's such an incredible asset. Well, what else, Ada, do you have anything else you want to share with us?
Yeah. So, okay. Cause I don't want a flood of emails asking me, following up on that Med-Mal seminar. So I pulled it up. Here we go. So it's going to be Panama City Beach at the Hyatt. Okay. And the date is likely, I don't know if the contract has officially been signed with the hotel yet, but it looks like it's going to be February 20th to the 24th.
20th to 24th. Okay.
Of February.
Okay.
And I believe that for this seminar and possibly the employment seminar, once we make the announcement and open up registration, we'll probably do a discount for the first, X amount of folks that sign up. So if you're interested and save the dates now. Again, I think it's February 20th to the 24th for Med-Mal, and then it's April 24th to 26th for employment. Pencil it in, and then once registration comes up, we should be able to provide a discount for, the first odd number of folks.
Okay. I just put it in my calendar, so I won't miss it, hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing, it's also TBD, again, because we're trying to finalize the 2025 calendar, is graduation. So many of we haven't had graduation in 2 years. So we want to, we're not having one this year just because of logistics and everything. So we didn't have one last year. So we're going to, in 2025, recognize all of our graduates of 2023, of 2024, all of the awards, our faculty that's been with KTI, and we are looking at April 18th. So Friday, April 18th, aiming for Atlanta. But, we had just discussed this during today's leadership meeting, so we still have to put things in work and see if it's going to happen, but that is the idea. So pencil it in, April 18th of next year for graduation.
All right. And so anybody who finished their undergraduate courses in 2023 and 2024 will be recognized at that one, right?
Correct. So if you're a graduate or a master's for 2023, 2024, you'll be recognized. All of our faculty, hopefully y'all can join us live, will be recognized as faculty. We also have some awards that we present in person. Anybody who is a KTI student, plus your family, friends, whoever you want to bring, are welcome to attend.
All right. What is graduation? I've never been to one in person. Like, do you know what it entails? Like,
I haven't been to one in person because I started my KTI journey during the pandemic.
That's right. Yeah. And I've never been to one in person either.
Yeah, I don't think you have either. But I think one of those years in 2022, we did sort of like a hybrid. I think this is the one that you and I were on.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that one was hybrid. So what we're hoping to do this year, so instead of just having folks like fly in just to attend graduation, which a lot of people do, is we're hoping to maybe put on like maybe a 1 day, during the daytime, because graduation is usually in the evening, type of training for maybe either faculty or for students or something interesting, so you can make your trip worthwhile and check off, 2 boxes at the same time. So we're hoping to do that, still in the early planning of things. And then we'll have, graduation, dinner, recognize all the folks we want to recognize.
Very cool. All right. Awesome. What else? What else is, what else do you got to tell us about, Ada?
Well, I think that's pretty much it. It's an exciting 2024. We still have 2 full months of, really good courses and things that we're looking forward to. 2025, I gave you a sneak peek on a lot of things. We have some other things in the works that I haven't talked about yet. And, you'll probably hear next year. It's super exciting. Something might be new. And then I'm really excited to go back on tour. So please, let us know, drop us a comment, send us an email if you want to go to your state. Your city, what kind of course. We've identified obviously Seattle because we're here and we have a good number of folks here. And probably looking at Texas, maybe a combination of North and South Carolina and Arizona and possibly Vegas. So if you did not hear me just say your city, let us know. We are also going to send out the KTI newsletter sometime around the end of this year, early 2025, once we're able to finalize it. And it's our annual newsletter that we publish electronically. A lot of the information, many of you will see your faces or names on there. And then we also are working on, Amy Gibson is working on the new Edge books. So that is also slated to come out probably in early 2025.
Oh, that's exciting. What will we expect to see in these Edge books?
Well, the Edge books are just like your other Edge books, except we also have the anthology. So it's all going to be new articles.
It's going to be your blog guys, like this one.
Yes.
I shouldn't ever blur my background, but I don't need you guys seeing my, blur background is not good for sharing like this.
Yeah, but basically that. So she's working on the next two books. We also had, some new products come out, like the 101 Power Words from Mr. Keenan come out this year. So if you haven't gotten it, get it, your Power Words. Trying to think, I think that's mostly it. We got the newsletter coming out. Yeah.
Well, that is a lot, and that is exciting. We've had a great year, and I'm definitely looking forward to next year. It will be really fun. I mean, David Hoey is incredible, and he is also a wonderful asset to this organization. So I'm really happy for him to, whatever the next chapter of his life may be, and have a new face. Help us out in the role of the dean. So it's always exciting to have fresh ideas and new opportunities. So thank you so much, Ada. Thank you for those of you who did not join us live, but who are watching this pre-recorded episode of Fridays with Keenan's Cutting Edge. If you liked today's episode, please click that thumbs up to feed the YouTube algorithm, and don't forget to subscribe and sign up for alerts so you don't miss an episode. We have a couple of replays and pre-recorded episodes coming up the next few weeks, but I think, like I was mentioning earlier, I believe our next live episode is November 22nd, when we will have guests on talking about the Beast College. So please tune in to that. And just in case I'm incorrect on the date, make sure you watch your inboxes for correct information on when that's going to be. Always don't forget that you can send me any topic ideas or guests that you want to see on the podcast. I love to hear from all of you about what you want to hear to make sure that I am making the podcast as interesting and useful to all of you as possible. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time.